Alright, what is going on? Phil here, and welcome to another private react video for a patron. Thank you very much once again for supporting DSP Gaming and for supporting me. I'm excited to see what you have in store for me this month. What I've tried to do this month is a little bit different even than last month. I have the ability to queue up multiple videos and play them all back to back here on the YouTube app via my phone. So we're trying this out this month. I already tried it once. It didn't work. It glitched completely. So I'm trying it again a second time. Luckily, I only wasted about 8 minutes the first time. So let's see what happens. I think I have them working. The first video is, why can elementary particles decay?
Physicists have so far discovered 25 elementary particles that, for all we currently know, aren't made up of anything else. Most of those particles are unstable, and they'll decay to lighter particles within fractions of a second. But how can it possibly be that a particle which decays is elementary? If it decays, doesn't this mean it was made up of something else? And why?
Well, I guess it means it would depend on your definition of decay. Oh, and I think something is decaying. I mean, it was a whole and it's breaking down and breaking maybe into separate components and falling apart. Like you think about, I don't know, a piece of wood decays. As it rots, the wood, falls apart. And then you have a piece of rotten wood or ash or whatever under it while the wood is basically breaking down into its base components. And I guess what she's saying is, if there's particles out there that are so basic, they're not made of anything else, how do they decay? What are they breaking down into? How is that possible if they're not made up of those things? Okay?
Why do particles decay in the first place? At the end of this video, you'll know the answers.
Science without the gobbledygook. I like the
model
gobbledygook.
of particle physics contains 25 particles. But the matter around us is almost entirely made up of only half of them. First, there's the electron. Then there are the constituents of atomic nuclei, the neutrons and protons, which are made up of different combinations of up and down quarks. That's 3. And those particles are held together by photons and the 8 gluons of the strong nuclear force. So that's 12. What's with the other particles? Let's take, for example, the tau. The tau is very similar to the electron, except it's heavier by about a factor of 4,000. It's unstable and has a lifetime of only 3 times 10 to the minus 13 seconds. It then decays, for example, into an electron, a tau neutrino, and an electron antineutrino. So the tau may be just made up of those 3 particles. And when it decays, they just fly apart.
That makes sense.
But no, the tau is not made up of anything, at least not according to all the observations that we currently have. There are several reasons physicists know this. First, if the tau was made up of those other particles, you'd have to find a way to hold them together. This would require a new force. But we have no evidence for such a force.
That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just maybe means that we don't have a measurement system on that level. I mean, we're talking insanely small molecules, measurements. Maybe we just don't know what it is. I don't know.
More about this, check out my video about fifth forces. Second, even if you'd come up with a new force, that wouldn't help you, because the tau can decay in many different ways. Instead of decaying into an electron, a tau neutrino, and an electron antineutrino, it could, for example, decay into a muon, a tau neutrino, and a muon antineutrino. Or it could decay into a tau neutrino and a pion. The pion is made up of 2 quarks. Or it could decay into a tau neutrino and a rho. The rho is also made up of 2 quarks, but different ones than the pion.
Well, you see, we're having a lot of assumptions here. What we're assuming is that modern science is measuring this completely accurately and saying that the one tau is identical in all 4 cases, but can break into these different components. And that doesn't make sense, because how could it be all these things at once if it decays differently, right? Maybe our scientific measurements aren't accurate at this level. Maybe these look the same, but they're not really all taus. Or I don't know. Let's find out.
And there are many other possible decay channels for the tau. So if you'd want the tau to be made up of the particles it decays into, at the very least there'd have to be different tau particles.
That's what I was just saying. Maybe there's different taus that don't look the same,
but we know that this can't be.
Okay.
The taus are exactly identical. We know this because if they weren't, they'd themselves be produced in larger numbers in particle collisions than we observe. The idea that there are different versions of taus is therefore just incompatible with observation.
Well, that one goes right over my head. I don't know what that means. particle collisions. I don't know anything about particle collisions. She's saying there's a scientific evidence that all taus are identical. I guess I have to take her word for it because I don't understand her explanation. Okay.
This, by the way, is also why elementary particles can't be conscious. It's because we know they do not have internal states. Elementary particles are called elementary because they are simple. The only way you can assign any additional property to them, call that property consciousness or whatever you like, is to make that property entirely featureless and unobservable. This is why panpsychism, which assigns consciousness to everything, including elementary particles, is either bluntly wrong, that's if the consciousness of elementary particles is actually observable, because, well, we don't observe it, or entirely useless, because if that thing you call consciousness isn't observable, it doesn't explain anything. But
now we're talking about particles being conscious, like having consciousness inside of them. I don't know how we got to that point, but apparently we are talking about that. And she's saying taus don't have consciousness. From all our measurements, we don't believe that's the case. Okay.
Back to the question why elementary particles can decay. A decay is really just a type of interaction. This also means that all these decays in principle can happen in different orders. Let's stick with the tau because you've already made friends with it. That the tau can decay into the two neutrinos and an electron just means that those four particles interact. They actually interact through another particle, which is one of the vector bosons of the weak interaction. But this isn't so important. Important is that this interaction could happen in other orders. If an electron with high enough energy runs into a tau neutrino, that could, for example, produce a tau and an electron neutrino. In that case, what would you think any of those particles are made of? This idea just doesn't make any sense if you look at all the processes that we know of that taus are involved in. Everything that I just told you about the tau works similarly for all the other unstable particles in the Standard Model. So the brief answer to the question why elementary particles can decay is that decay doesn't mean the decay products must have been in the original particle. A decay is just a particular type of interaction, and we've no observations that it indicate elementary particles are made up of something else. They have no substructure. That's why we call them elementary.
But so could it be you got a tau particle chilling? Something interacts with that tau particle. She mentioned an electron, but it could be another particle as well. And that interaction causes the decay of the particle. It's not the particle itself that will naturally just decay and break apart into components. It's something else, is a stimuli from an outside source that causes it to decay. I guess that makes sense. So what she's saying is, for example, think about the wood example I said, right? Piece of wood rotting. Well, that wood, if it just sat there pristine, it wouldn't rot. There's other factors involved making it rot that's making it become something different. Okay. I guess that makes sense. Maybe naturally things wouldn't just decay if they weren't bothered by something else. And so the other things are possible what make it decay and why it becomes something else. Okay. I guess I get that.
This brings up another question. Why do those particles decay to begin with? I often come across the explanation that they do this to reach a state of lowest energy, because the decay products are lighter than the original. But that doesn't make any sense, because energy is conserved in the decay. Indeed, the reason those particles decay has nothing to do with energy. It has all to do with entropy. Heavy particles decay simply because they can, and because that's likely to happen. As Einstein told us, mass is a type of energy. Yes, that guy again. So a heavy particle can decay into several lighter particles because it has enough energy, and the rest of the energy that doesn't go into the masses of the new particles goes into the kinetic energy of the new particles. But for the opposite process to happen, those light particles would have to meet in the right spot with a sufficiently high energy. This is possible, but it's very unlikely to happen coincidentally.
So she's saying things decay just because they can. There's actually no logic to it. It's not like there was a purpose behind it. Oh, so again, there's no consciousness to this particle. So it's not saying, I must split to do this because this is better. It just naturally happens. It's just something that happens. And you just kind of have to accept it because we've observed it enough to know it's something that just naturally happens. Okay? Now she's basically saying, once something decays, you can't put it back together. I mean, that would make sense. You have a piece of rotted wood. How the hell are you going to turn it back into the solid wood? Right? Unless you can reverse time, or you can completely make this insane, perfect set of circumstances magically happen back together, it's probably not going to happen, right? Okay.
It would be a spontaneous increase of order, so it would be an entropy decrease. That's why we don't normally see it happening, just like we don't normally see eggs unbreak. To sum it up,
there's a good example. Eggs unbreaking, wood unrotting.
It's worth emphasizing, though, that the reverse of all those particle decay processes indeed exists, and it can happen in principle. Mathematically, you can reverse all those processes, which means the laws of nature are time reversible. Like a movie, you can run them forwards and backwards. It's just that some of those processes are very unlikely to occur in the world we actually inhabit, which is why we experience our life with a clear forward direction of time that points towards more wrinkles. This video was sponsored by Brilliant.
Okay, and now this is the sponsor plug. Okay, that was interesting. An elementary understanding of elementary particles and how they decay and why they decay, and that there's really nothing special to it. It just happens. Okay. I think I got that one a lot better than last month's crazy space-time experiment video that blew my mind. Okay. Up next, something very different. I believe this is a comedy video. It's not going. Okay, I'll just click on the next video here then. Let's see if this works. Okay.
Hello, I am a professional Asian. Welcome to Failure Management. Today, I will teach you a pro-level move, how to cause emotional damage without even being in the room. Let's
very nice.
Do the laundry before I get back.
Here we go.
Steven, make sure you do the laundry before I get home, okay? Okay, I won't. You know he will. Am I supposed to do something? I feel like there's something I'm forgetting. I can sense the whooping, but I did the dishes, vacuumed the carpet, unfroze the chicken. Yeah, okay, there's nothing. The next 5 minutes will be emotional damage.
I like it. No, get in there, motherfucker. Oh, great.
Now we have him trapped. He will not be able to maneuver this situation successfully. There's still wet.
Hand dryer. No.
Smell like minimum wage. Lesson 2. Using examples. When you want your failure to do anything or not do anything, you can always convince them by using an example. Bonus. They don't have to be realistic at all. In fact, the more ridiculous, the more convincing.
All
hey,
right.
Can you go to the movies with Brett? Oh yeah, you can go. Oh, you can go if you want. But remember your neighbor's kid? He went to the movie once, got lost, went home with the wrong family. Now he lives in Bangkok. Bangkok, fantastic place. You probably enjoy it.
No.
Bam, got him. Is that cold water? Oh no, you can drink as much as you want. I knew a kid in 6th grade tallest in his class, and then he grew up to an adult 4'11". Tell you what happened, he drank cold water, like froze all his height off. So, no problem, you can go ahead and drink cold water.
It's great.
I'm
He's
gonna play some
away
PlayStation.
silent.
Of course, go play the PlayStation, no problem. But I have to warn you though, okay? I knew this friend back at home, same as you, playing PlayStation in the front room, hit by a car. So it's safer in the back, away from the window where your piano is. So while you're there, you might as well.
Want to go play a piano?
Because the logic of the example defeats all reasoning. Your failure will receive maximum emotional damage. Very effective. With these techniques, you too can be managing your failure like a pro. Thank you for subscribing.
That's awesome.
See you in the next episode of Failure Management.
That was good.
I buy some snacks for Thanksgiving. You got the Lay's chips? Yeah. You can't go wrong with Lay's chips. Thank you. I take
Legs chips.
legs. What's next? Torso chips? What about cookies? You have Oreos. The cookie with the cream in the middle? Yes, that's the one. Yes, that's the one. Okay. Fuck.
Cream between.
You got Skittles. Of course, that's my childhood favorite.
Shittles.
Jesus. You got Fanta. We got Funty. You got Coke. We got Cola. You got Sprite. Yeah, we have a whole combo actually with Sprunty included. That's some. Do you have Pringles? Oh, Prungles? No, Pringles.
Ew,
Pringles.
Prungles.
No, I said Pringles. Oh, that. Yeah, we have crack. You must have Kit Kats. Yes, we have YouTube. What's next?
What?
Subscribe bar. Smack that subscribe button. Oh, it's a plug. Subscribe. You got everything. You got Nutters. You got Snickers. We got Snipers. You got
Snipers.
Yeah, we have Thick Mints.
Ugh. Thick mints.
You know what? Forget the snacks. I'll just take the most basic food. Give me bread and butter. Oh, no problem. Here is, that's not butter. I literally said butter. Who needs butter?
Who needs butter?
Asked about, could it be butter? I don't know. What? Not butter? I don't care. You think it's butter? No, I wasn't. I thought it was butter. Okay. Is it butter?
Is it
No,
butter?
I can't believe it's even butterier. Just forget it. Forget? I think you might need memories of butter.
Memories of butter. That's great.
Okay.
They don't even try. They don't even try with these products. Memories of butter. Oh my god.
Get an alternative one because I'm really afraid Megan's gonna be like, that's not usable. I have something cool to announce. We have new merch. After months, we have fun.
All right, now it's just a plug. This guy's funny. This guy's funny. It's not like when we watched that Korean comic. What was it, a month or two ago? So that guy was trying to do like a very stereotypical version of his mother that was, you know, heavily Korean Asian, but a lot of people could say that's kind of racist. In this case, honestly, he could do this video without the Asian accent. It would still be hilarious. The fucking how to do emotional damage to people by messing with them, how to or look at all these ridiculous knockoff products. This is great. Actually, this is funny. It's only 2 weeks old, 1.4 million views. No wonder. That shit's funny. Memories of butter. Remember when you used to have butter? Well, this maybe faintly tastes like it. Here, have some. Delicious. Okay. Apparently, this is the actual opening to the TV show Smallville coming up. Now, I've never watched Smallville. I've seen clips of it. I don't know if this is going to get in trouble. For me, probably not. If anything, it's on YouTube. Maybe I'll get like a content ID claim. But for this person who requested this video, if they're looking to re-upload it, it might get blocked. So I should just kind of forewarn. If this ends up getting blocked, you know what I might want to do? I might want to split the video. Now that I'm thinking about that. Only because what if it does get blocked? That's just going to cause a lot of problems. Right? So I think what I should do is split the video here. Because actually, this next part is different. You'll see why in the next video. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. So thank you to this patron. I'm going to split your video on purpose. So that way, if this next part gets blocked and we have issues, you still get your first part of the video. There we go. Okay, cool.